For the people who haven't seen all the previous videos, I'm developing a Destiny-themed space combat game. So far, we've got flight controls, basic enemies, and an ability system. In the previous video, I created the 1000 Wings exotic ship, but by far the most requested ship to be added to the game is the Unizeral Voyager. And I'm not sure why, because this thing is literally just a rock, but in any case, let's begin. Firstly, I decided last week it would be better if we created all of our own models for the game, rather than using ripped ones straight from Destiny. My 3D modeling is atrocious, so once again World Wonder Studios has offered to do some modeling for the project. I will just say this guy is an absolute wizard inside of Blender. While the models were being made, I decided to start work on some of the abilities for this ship. The first ability is based on the Look in the Chamber perk from Destiny 1. This perk allowed a random bullet in the magazine to deal extra damage and also featured on the original Hawkmoon alongside holding aces. I knew I wanted the Voyager to fire engrams to fit with the Xur theme, but I also wanted to add some randomness to this. So each engram would deal different amounts of damage based on their rarity, and the type of engram you fired would be random. I also wanted these engrams to be like tracking missiles that would lock onto targets. This sounded all great on paper, but I've never actually programmed a targeting system and had no idea where to start. I decided the best approach here would be to forget about the targeting system and attack each aspect of the ability step by step. Firstly, I created some projectile trails and set the damage variables for each engram. Next, I followed a YouTube tutorial on trajectory prediction, which was great, and the link will be in the description. Then I instantiated the projectiles whenever the player would fire. As you can see, this was working-ish. Then I began work on the targeting system. I started by creating a crosshair in Photoshop alongside a red cube that would represent our enemy. The targeting script would display a crosshair on valid enemies and allow for cycling between targets too. Next, I linked the targeting system to the projectile system by changing the tag of objects to a target tag whenever the crosshair touched them. This allowed each projectile to check for objects marked with a target tag before firing. Now I was so close, I just needed to find a way to fire a flurry of random engrams at a locked target. After a valiant amount of effort, I gave up and then decided to go and climb a mountain instead. On a side note, I would highly recommend visiting the Peak District, truly a fantastic place. Then, after summiting the mountain, it came to me. Why don't I just instantiate an array of objects inside of a for loop with a randomly generated index? This actually happened to work perfectly and the ability was finished. Finally, I polished up some things and added a ram attack to the ship. So that's where I am with the project so far. Thanks for all the support, boys, it's been absolutely mega and this has been such a fun project to work on. Subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and goodbye.